Greetings, fellow brewers. This is Dennis Collins from Innovative Homebrew Solutions, official manufacturer of the totally redesigned Hopstopper 2.0, the best kettle screen available to the home brewer, period. A frequent question I get is from owners of the Ss Brewtech kettles asking if the Hopstopper 2.0 will work for their kettle. The simple answer is yes, but not without a little tweaking of the dip tube. In this video, I'll show you how you can do this yourself. But if you decide you don't want to tackle it, I will do it free of charge, just the cost of shipping to get it to me. I'll ship it back to you along with your brand new Hopstopper 2.0. Just drop me an email at ihbinfo@ihomebrewsolutions.com. This is the dip tube from an Ss Brewtech kettle. It has the large trub dam welded to it, which is definitely not going to fit into the sealing port on the Hopstopper. However, it's a pretty simple operation to remove, and the dip tube will slide right into the sealing grommet and it will work just fine. We'll start by removing the large wings on either side. I'll be using a cutting wheel attached to a standard Dremel tool, and once that's done, we'll use a belt sander to remove the remaining part of the trub dam and the weld itself right here in the center. Once we do that, we'll clean up anything remaining with a hand file, and then we'll notch the dip tube so that it looks like this. And that's important to make sure that the dip tube can drain the filtered wort that comes into the screen cavity and not sit flush up against the screen. Before we get started, we want to be sure to remove the small O-rings here at the attachment point of the dip tube. If we don't take those off, we're likely to damage them. Do not remove them using any kind of a tool or anything that might damage them. It's really simple. You just kind of stretch the O-ring up from the bottom and then roll it out with your finger just like that. And do the same with the other one, and it should just roll right out. And it rolled into the groove. So do that, pull it off. All right, now we're ready to go. Okay, here's our Dremel tool with our cutting wheel. And there isn't anything magic about this step. All we want to do is just remove these big wings and get as close to the tube as we can. You're definitely going to want to secure this into a vise. So we just slide it in here and try not to tighten it too much, just enough to get it snug because we don't want to damage the tube. Just nice and snug. Alright, that's not going to go anywhere. Be sure and use the correct safety equipment. And here we go. Alright, we'll just flip it over, do the other side, and then we'll be ready for the belt sander. Alright, as you can see, I've got both of the wings cut off on either side of this. So now we're going to use the belt sander to take the rest of it off and try to get it as close to the tube as we can. As we get closer to the center here, in this center part, the weld is going to be a little bit harder than the tube part. So you may have to push a little harder to get through the weld, but you don't want to go so hard as that you start to sand the tube. You just want to be very gentle with it, go slow, and definitely wear gloves because the tube is going to heat up. So let's don our eye protection and see what happens. Alright, we're done with the sanding. I was able to get most of the weld. As you can see, I did hit the tube a couple of times, but those are just minor cosmetic scratches, not a big deal. I'm going to finish this off with a hand file. Looks like that. Just hold this in one hand, and you want to take long strokes and kind of rotate it as you go, and just kind of clean this up a little bit until it looks nice and smooth. Okay, I've filed this down and it's looking pretty good. We've just got one more step to go. As you can see, it cleaned up rather nicely. The file took care of any of the discolorations. We've got it nice and smooth now, but we've got to do one more thing, and that's to make that tube notch on the far side of the dip tube. We're going to notch this side right here, the side away from the center of the kettle. We're going to notch that about 1/4 of an inch with our belt sander, and then just a little bit of cleanup work, and then we'll be done. So we'll put on our gloves and notch this thing. Alright, so there's our notch. We're going to run the deburr on this and clean it up with a little bit of a file, and then we'll be all done. And there you have it. We've got our trub dam cut off. We've got a little bit of minor cosmetic scratching, no big deal. We've got our tube notch in there. You see I cleaned that up with a file and a deburring tool. A test fit into the hop stopper. It just slides right in there. It'll sit just like that. There's no obvious gaps. This turned out great. Don't forget to reinstall the O-rings. Like I said before, don't use any tools. Just slide those right on. And there you go. You're all done. Now, if this is not something you want to tackle yourself, as I said at the beginning of this video, all you have to do is ship me your dip tube and I will make the modifications for you. I'll do it at no charge, just the cost of getting the dip tube to me, and I'll ship it back with your hop stopper. Just drop me an email at ihbinfo@ihomebrewsolutions.com. Thanks for watching.